Hey everyone, I'm Caroline Rena, and I do the Ride of My Life podcast. I've been doing it for a little over a year, and it's just a short introduction and a little bit of information on some things I wanted to share with you today. I do want to introduce my healing partner. This bear has been with me since I was about 6 months old, and I am 58 now, and it's been through a lot with me, through a lot of dark nights of the soul, a lot of grieving, a lot of work. So just wanted him to introduce, also because I use him as a surrogate in energy healing when I do inner child connection or just general energy healing. I also do transformational coaching and grief support. And some of the things that I think it's important to know, I was talking the other day with a friend of mine who she is going through some incredible grief, and this has happened before, where people don't really understand exactly what grief is and how to deal with people who are grieving, or themselves, really. I mean, it's something where when I did the work, I learned this thing about carrying grief. So in carrying grief, we are able to support other people, because it is not a good idea to tell someone who's grieving to stop grieving, because it's part of the healing process. And when we tell them that, it blocks out a feeling of safety. It blocks out a feeling of being able to just be who they are in the moment and not worry about somebody judging them. And so it's really important to know that grief is something that is necessary to do for everyone. And here's the kicker. Grief isn't just about somebody dying in your life that you love, or in general that you find out about. Grief also has to do with, I'm cheating, I'm looking at notes here. Grief has to do with things that could have been. It has to do with things that were planned that ended. We also tend to grieve patterns that change in our lives. And we grieve for ourselves and our inner children. And the inner children, those the little energy inside of us that never got what we needed, or got things that we never deserved, or whatever happened with those inner children. But we didn't know how to grieve because the inner child gets stuck and doesn't know how to do it. And I feel like that's one of the reasons we don't know how to grieve, because mostly in our society we don't talk about that, especially in the United States. And I just want you to know, there's one more thing. There's also, if you're a new mother and you're going through postpartum depression, there also could be a grieving process going on there, because the baby is no longer connected to you within your body. So it could be that's what I'm saying. It could be anything. And then here's something important to understand too. It's like sometimes these symptoms that we get in life really don't have to do with an illness. They have to do with the need to grieve. And there are emotional symptoms, there are physical symptoms. Emotional symptoms are obvious, like crying or getting angry, or things like that. And then there's also confusion, anxiety, an inability to concentrate, depression, having trouble remembering things, dizziness, shortness of breath, sleeping too much or too little, or eating too much or too little, extreme restlessness. Any of these symptoms can relate to grief that hasn't been dealt with. And I feel like it's important for people to know these things, because there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with grieving. It's an important thing that needs to happen. And I really am glad that you're here watching this, because it's something that it's like I so want people to learn about themselves and the truth of who they are. And all these things that I've worked on over the last 30 plus years in healing, in my own healing journey, I share on my podcast. So there's like over 160 videos on there especially over the last 1.5 to 2 years, where you can find all kinds of information. It's just things that I think of that I want to work on myself on, and then I experience whatever I experience, and I share what I share. Also on my podcast, I did about probably a little more, but there was a season of interviews. I did those because I wanted to try it out. You know, it's just, I like being a guinea pig. And as well, there's new podcasts or new episodes about this physical journey I'm going on through redox signaling molecules that just started. And I'm already feeling a difference in my health in a week. So, and the responses for everybody are not going to be identical, because we are not the same. We're not the same in any capacity, even though, you know, the medical community and the psychological community, all this stuff wants to clump us into one space, but that's not the case that I'm finding from my own process. But you know, if you knew me 5 years ago, you would definitely see a difference in how I present, how I communicate now, how I feel, how all the things that have changed in my life. I used to isolate. I went through a lot of trauma, and that's all in the podcast. You can learn about it over there, so I'm not going to go into detail here. But I also lastly wanted to share that some of the things that I'm going to be putting up on here revolve around the work that I do, and also my story, like what got me here. I'm going to start sharing things like that, kind of giving more information about what grief is and how you can find support or support yourself, or, you know, things that you can do for that, just to break through that. But the bottom line is finding the truth of who you are, not based off of the things that we were told as children, because I was told so many things about myself that it just confused me my entire life. And I couldn't figure out why I felt something different than the things that I was told. And it was like crazy making. And I attracted all these experiences into my life that helped me to see how to be self-loving, how to be self-compassionate, how to be self-forgiving, and then to share that with other people. Just be that with other people. This is not, it's not an easy journey. I will definitely vouch for that. But what I can say is it's powerful and it's healing, and everyone has the potential to do this. I have a shirt with a mantra that I came up with years ago, and this has been my guiding light. It's be willing, be courageous, be free. And that's all I gotta say for today. This is all new for me. It's new for TikTok because I've never done TikTok before, so it's another experiment. So hopefully I can get this going and see what happens with it. All right, well, anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day or night wherever you are. And lastly, peace.